This is the end of the holidays. Just to explain that. Sometimes we feel like guilty or we just don't have it in us to celebrate, and that's totally fine. You honor wherever you're at. This is in no way, shape, or form a workshop intended to convince you to be happy or persuade you to feel any other way than you're feeling. This is a workshop to give you permission to feel whatever, the whole spectrum of emotion. I often talk about we are human beings, and to be whole human beings, we are going to experience the whole spectrum of emotion, especially when we're in grief. Grief, despair, sadness, anger, all the things, all the way up to joy, happiness, excitement about life, all the things. And if you're feeling that there is space within you to welcome joy this holiday season, then this workshop might help you give yourself a little bit of permission to do that. Okay. Hold on one second. Why isn't that working? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it this way. Okay. So I am Amanda McKoy Flanagan. Just a couple of minutes about me. I'm a loss and empowerment coach, and I call myself that specifically instead of a grief coach because I think it opens up the conversation or the possibility of loss coming to us in different ways and other than the loss of a person. Typically, when we hear the word grief, we think death of a person or a pet, maybe a divorce. And that's kind of getting into the area that I like to go and where I like to encourage people to think about loss in a broad way and not always having to be so heavy as a loss of a loved one. It could be a job change. I mean, and it could be just as heavy for you. We're all different, right? It could be moving somewhere. It could be relationships that you wished were different, relationships that are active in your life, friendships, relationships with parents or children, or kind of wishes of things that you've come to realize are not going to happen, and having to find acceptance around that. We go through the same grieving process around those types of things and we would when we actually lose a person. So I encourage people to broaden their scope of what they think loss is so that they can process it, release it through empowerment, through what coaching does. Well, different than therapy. If you don't know, therapy is we go back, we look at childhood wounds, we look at all those things. Coaching is we move you forward. We call upon your strengths and we use those strengths to empower you to move forward in any way that suits you. I'm also an energy healer. I specialize in Reiki, EFT tapping, chakra balancing, clearing, all the things. I also do some psychic work, past lives, mediumship. So I empower individuals to navigate life's toughest transitions with clarity to release and welcome what's next. With a focus on energy healing and holistic wellness, I guide clients toward emotional and spiritual recovery through exploring their inner wisdom. I believe that you have all your answers. I'm just a guide to help bring it to the surface. And I do energy infused coaching because sometimes there's that blocked, stored energy inside that we need to release, that we need to let go of in order to make space for the high frequency, beautiful light energy that we all are as human beings, to be able to flow in and then hopefully out toward the world. I'm also a writing coach, an author, and a podcaster. I wrote a memoir a couple of years ago. I'll tell you a little bit about my story in just a second. I'm a natural communicator, passionate about the written and spoken word. I use it as a vehicle for connection. And I encourage people to show up authentically through creative expression in whatever that looks like for you, whether it's art, like Susie's amazing workshop before, or writing, or exercising, or any way that you can get to the heart of who you are and then hopefully share that with the world. It doesn't really matter whether you're a food enthusiast, whether you like to lead people on nature hikes, or whatever it is, anything that's going to bring life into you, life into your soul. That's sort of my mission. It's not letting me just go from one to one, so I have to go to these slides here. What to expect today. This workshop will explore how grief and joy can coexist through simple writing and grounding exercises and sharing. Now, I don't think there are too many of us here to the point where we can't share out loud. I prefer that. And if we think that we can do it in a way that we can leave space for everybody to share, maybe a minute or two or something like that, because I'm going to be offering up some writing exercises and prompts. And then we'll give you some time to do your writing, and then I will open it up for sharing. So I don't expect to share every single time, for every question, but maybe if one is really kind of calling to you that this needs to be expressed and shared with others, please do speak up. I think we can try that. And if anybody is going on a little bit too long, I will gently interrupt, ask you to put your rest of your thoughts in the chat so that we can open it up for somebody else to share. I didn't tell you about my story because I really don't want to take up too long, but I will for a second, just so you guys know why I'm passionate about this work. I moved, well, I think my loss started in the womb, to tell you the truth. I think that we know now science is actually proving that whatever the mother is going through affects the baby in utero. And I think that my mother was going through a lot. And just by the nature of life, I think that I experienced some kind of loss in the womb and then immediately when I was born. But the actual loss started, the big loss, when I got sober. I was 8 months sober, and my boyfriend, who was also 8 months sober, overdosed and died. And that was the first time that I was faced with this sudden and unexpected death of that shock, the trauma of here today, gone tomorrow. And that really it really affected me a lot. I did stay sober. I am in 12-step recovery. I am 19 years sober now. And that is another type of loss. Getting sober was also a loss. So I'm going to talk about different types of loss because it was loss of familiar places, familiar friends, familiar just things that I was used to, who I was. I associated my whole life with drinking. Like I was just a drinker. That's just how I lived. I had to relearn and unlearn a lot of things. That was challenging as well. But the physical death was Mike, who passed away, and then I met my husband. We moved out to Colorado. I'm originally from New York. We moved out here. I live in Castle Rock, Colorado. We moved out here about 10 years ago. And we got hit with Hurricane Sandy a couple years before that. We lived in a shore town, South Shore, Long Island. And that was very devastating. My husband is a 9/11 first responder, FDNY, and a lot of trauma tied up in New York. So we decided to move out here. And that was also a huge loss. My identity. I went through an identity crisis. I didn't know how much of myself was tied up in being a New Yorker. That was really hard for me. And the whole transition, the adjusting out here, I didn't have a lot of support. It was very, very difficult. And everybody started dying about a month after I moved here. My aunt died first, then another aunt, then my cousin, then my mother's cousin, and then my brother. And that was all within 3 years. So that it ended with my brother, who overdosed 7.5 years ago. I'm very familiar with death from overdose. I don't call it my specialty, but it's what I'm familiar with and what I know. And after my brother died, I pushed my husband away. It's a big part of my story, and why I tell that is because grief, if we don't process it, it can manifest in all these ways. And grief, as we all know, does crazy things. And some people, yeah, that's the journey they need to go on. They wake up, they have an awakening. It's the relationship's not right. My story's different. My I don't love you was I'm afraid you're going to die. So I talk a lot about that sort of fear of loss that comes from other grief. So I wrote a book, and then it all kind of went on from there because I feel that we go through pain in order to then help others. I really can't see any other reason. I've sort of grappled with this. Why is this human experience sometimes so incredibly painful? And I just think that it's so that we can have some kind of awakening, awareness, a light enlightenment, so then we can go on and help other people through their pain. And we're all connected and we're all one. And that's a whole different workshop. But I'll let Sundari do that later. Okay, so today in today's workshop, first I want to read this quote over here on the right side. It is the capacity to feel consuming grief and pain and despair that also allows me to embrace love and joy and beauty with my whole heart. I must let it all in. That's by Anna White. She's an author. It's from Thoughts on Life, Love, and Leaps of Faith. I saw that very early on after my brother died, and it was kind of like permission, right? Like, or a desire. If I want to feel better, I have to feel my pain, and if I want to feel, I have to be willing to feel my pain in order to feel joy. And at some point, I wanted to live again. So today you will receive permission to explore your emotions and feel it all. You will find acceptance, self-acceptance of all of your emotions and parts of you, and acceptance from me and the group. And you will receive tools for integration, to integrate your emotions in a way that feels right for you. So integration just means allowing, taking it all in, allowing space, creating space inside, creating what's called capacity in order to allow all of these things to just reside together, which is really, I think, the whole experience of being human. And I believe that brings us to our next slide. Well, that's in two more. Before we get there, I took my grief coaching certification with a woman named Dora Carpenter. And her program is called From Grief to Gratitude. And this was one of the favorite things that I took away from her, the whole program. And it's the Decide to Say Yes manifesto. Okay. So I'll read this out loud. And this is sort of just saying yes to releasing, to healing, to moving forward with a measure of happiness and light back in our lives. I'm grateful for all the beauty and opportunity in my life. In all that I do, I shall seek to be a channel of love. I welcome change, and I am willing to change. I move from the old to the new with ease and with joy. My pathway is a series of stepping stones to success for my highest good. It doesn't matter how much or how little I achieve as long as I keep taking steps, hold on, I can't see this, on my journey. I am patient with myself. I am kind to myself. I am a perpetual beginner. I deserve the best that life has to offer. I yield to the circumstances that confront me and trust that it is all happening perfectly for my highest good. I embrace the journey as I discover the path that takes me to the best of who I am. I surrender to the power and love that lies within me. I decide to say yes. And I love that because one of my favorite things that I say that is definitely, I'll caveat this with people in acute grief might want to shut the screen off at this point, but grief is a gift. Once we're a little bit further out, I laid in bed for 3 months after my brother died. I couldn't do anything but take a bath, go to my recovery meetings, and cry. I had a 4 and a 6-year-old, 2 daughters. And thank God for my husband who was here and took care of them because my survival, their survival was threatened. It was a really, really, really bad time. But after I moved through some of my healing through therapy, through a lot of meditation, through a lot of stuff that I did a lot, I learned, I met my true self. Grief is a gift because it shows us who we are. Grief has this crazy way of like just opening us up, like in a way that I've never personally experienced any other, like just, I want to call it like an assault almost, but it's just like this thing that we don't consent to that happens to us. It just happens. Life happens. People die. Crazy things happen, right? And we're forced. It just changes us in a way that I don't think any other experience does. And it shows us parts of us that we really might not like, and parts of us that need to be healed. Old wounds, past wounds that maybe, that for me personally, I was pushing down. I was, not even pushing down. Some of them maybe, but some of them I just didn't know. It was unconscious. And grief just brought these things to the surface. I'm very spiritual. I have a connection with the other side. I believe my brother. did a lot for me from there to sort of wake me up, to break a lot of generational dysfunction. So that was a gift that grief gave me, was that I didn't have to continue passing on these dysfunctional messages really about life and love, that it's painful or that I can't trust it and that everybody leaves. And it really brought me home to my true self in terms of trusting myself, loving myself enough to always have my own back. It was the greatest gift where I learned to not self-abandon because I had self-abandoned my entire life. Just never knew myself, just always gave in, the people pleasing, the perfectionism, right? I found sovereignty, which means being, in easiest terms, it's basically not giving in or adhering or abandoning myself to please somebody else, standing true in my power and my purpose and having boundaries, right? Not reacting based on what I think you want or he wants. Living true to myself, being unattached, unaffected on a deep emotional level based on what other people are saying or doing. I belong to myself. I connect with you, but I belong to myself. So that is how my grief completely changed my world. I wouldn't be who I am today, and I like myself a lot more today than I did then. So this is our first writing prompt. If you haven't yet, and I meant to say this in the beginning, grab some paper or a journal. Hopefully you have that and coming and a pen or a pencil or what a marker or whatever you want to write with. I'll give everybody a couple of minutes to do that, or 30 seconds. So just take a minute and think about how your grief has changed you, or perhaps how you can intuit how grief might change you in the future. If you can sort of sense that this animal, this beast that grief is getting in there and doing something inside of me. And take a minute to write about that. In what meaningful ways has your experience with grief changed you? You can write on one of these or all three, depending on how much time. I'll probably give us about 5 minutes. What valuable insights have you gained as you travel your grief journey? Identify 5 ways you have grown or lessons learned as a result of your loss. So I'll give you some time to do that. If anybody has any questions, you can put it in the chat, but for some reason I can't see the chat when I'm screen sharing. Wait, hold on, what was that? Okay, we have about 30 seconds to wrap up. Would anybody like to share on any of those prompts? And you can just jump in because I can't see
Um,
everybody on the screen.
yes, I will.
Okay.
Um, my name is Denise, and I've taken a grief class by a renowned grief expert. And when he told us that it's okay to feel your feelings and no feeling is final, it gave me the opportunity to be in the moment and recognize my losses. And I've had people die in my life, quite a few people, but the greatest loss that I've always had in my life that will never change is I was I was born with only the ability to move my left arm. And even though I've done a lot of things like write books and go to college and all that fun stuff, that loss of not being able to even move, no matter what I try, it's because of brain damage at birth. When I gave myself the permission to feel and no feeling was final, it opened a whole bunch of doors for me.
That's beautiful, Denise. Thank you so much for sharing that. Really appreciate that. Does one other person, Vicky, had her hand up?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, this is Vicky. Um, what my insights I've gained from my losses are the only way through grief is through. Um, I used to use alcohol to numb myself. It doesn't work. Grief is waiting for you on the other side. There's no timeline on grief. Grief isn't something you get over. Um, it's been 19 years since I lost my um, partner, and it's still just as painful. And don't take your loved ones for granted. Life is fragile.
Thank you so much, Vicky. That's beautiful. Really appreciate the both of you. Ladies sharing, being here today and sharing. Thank you. So we're going to move on to what's called the both and concept. Okay, this means that you have, like I used that word capacity before, and you are allowed to feel both, whatever you're feeling, and all of it. If you're feeling one way, does not mean that you can't feel another way. And perhaps they can't exist. I don't even know. Maybe they can at the exact same time. But you're allowed to give yourself that permission to be in all of it. You can be scared and you can be excited and you can be depressed and then you can be joyful. For me, it's typically not at the same time, but maybe even hours apart. That's the wave of grief, right? And that's also, I think, just being a human being and being alive, especially in the world that we're in today, with a lot of different things coming to us quickly on our phones. A lot of information can sway how we feel about things, right? But in terms of your grief, you can feel grief and joy. You can feel happiness and sadness any given time, any given day. Just because you're feeling one way, right? In recovery, we say feelings aren't facts. Like, I just love how you shared that about how, Denise, how it's not forever, right? Feelings aren't final, they change. That's the beauty of it. And that's really hopeful. I love that because it's so hopeful. Just because I'm feeling one way today doesn't mean I'm going to feel that way tomorrow. This too shall pass, right? But you're allowed to feel it all. You can enjoy life and not forget your loved one. Okay, so that specifically when it comes to this workshop and your grief, it's about, sometimes I think we have this idea that if we're too happy or we smile too much or we allow ourselves to enjoy too much, that we're betraying or forgetting our person. And that is not true at all, at all. I know when I'm in a good space, and I tap in and I kind of connect with my brother, I see him smiling all the time. And I know that he not just wants, I hate that, oh, they would want you to be happy, blah, blah, blah. I don't really go for that. Um, I enjoy my life because I have to. I refuse to live the rest of my days miserable. I won't do it. I refuse. So by bringing my brother along with me on my journey of day in and day out of all the things, the ups and downs, the pain, the joy, the enjoyment, all that, he comes with me. My brother lives in a place in my heart. I carry him with me. So I know he's never gone. I'm not forgetting him. I'm not leaving him behind by enjoying my life. Moving forward has nothing to do with grieving your loss. They are independent and mutually exclusive. They are not tied together. It's about shifting that story in your head that you're telling yourself, just creating the new story. And this isn't part of the workshop here, but just another thing that you can do is you can just tell yourself that my grief is my grief. I will always feel that pain. That will always be a part of me, right? I don't ever really want to get rid of that because it's part of my experience. It makes me whole, right? And shows me things, like I said, about myself. But that can exist separately from taking my kids to the park and smiling while they're laughing going down the slide, right? Like going to get ice cream, going to their talent shows, spending time with my husband, and spending time with friends, laughing, having fun, putting up the Christmas tree, right? This is the holidays, right? So this is about I can be present with family and friends and enjoy and laugh and crack jokes while knowing that my grief still has a place at the table. My grief is still there. There is enough space for all emotions to reside within your body, mind, and spirit without needing to let go of any. So it's about believing, and you could even visualize like this broadening of your heart space, right? And that's what we do a lot when we breathe. When we breathe in, we open up, right? Create more space for yourself, right? Just know that, oh, wow, I have all this space inside of me, in my body, my mind, and my spirit, that I can put a little of this, I could put a little of that, I can have this, and I can have that. Next is another writing prompt. Okay. How might it feel to meet all my emotions with curiosity instead of resistance? Okay, and the reason why that question is there is because that's what's holding us back. That's what's keeping us out of this, embracing all of these emotions. We're resisting it. We're resisting. We're not allowed. We're telling ourselves some kind of story that we're not allowed to do that because it's wrong. How might it feel to meet all my emotions with curiosity? Something comes in, right? If I get happy for a minute, or I smile, or I laugh, what is that? Right? Getting curious. What permission do I need to give myself in order to create and hold space? So create the space and hold it for yourself. I wrote every one emotion. For every emotion, like grief and joy to coexist. So what is the permission? Write yourself a permission slip right now. I am allowed. I am allowed. I am allowed might be enough. Whatever you want to do. So take a few minutes on that and we'll come back for a few minutes of sharing. Okay. We'll take a few seconds to wrap up what you're writing. Your last thoughts down. Okay, Nancy, would you like to share?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by what I wrote because I responded to the first prompt, how might it feel to meet emotions with curiosity instead of resistance? And I thought what I wrote was also having curiosity instead of giving into those negative thoughts. So it's like what I heard from you is like try to resist them, but I tend to, spiral into, oh yeah, you really were an awful mother, and just agree with whatever pops into my head. And so meeting that with curiosity also, instead of like affirming whatever crazy things are going in my head.
That's fantastic. Yes, thank you so much for saying that. That's an excellent point. Anybody else want to share?
When I get in that spot, always ask, what would my older self say to my younger self?
Love that. Yes. Yes, taking ourselves outside. That's another great tool for grief work. Is kind of removing your own personal emotional attachment to whatever that thought is, whatever that judgment is of yourself, and seeing yourself almost like from a bird's eye view. And yes, would separating, right? What would my older self say, right? Taking myself, seeing myself as separate from where I am, who I am right now. Or even what a friend might tell you,
Yeah.
right? Love that. Thank you for sharing. Cool. Okay. This next one is, I call it a feelings inclusive statement. I can feel blank and blank. Both blank and blank are true. You just take a minute or so to fill in those blanks. Okay, does anybody want to share what they wrote? I would say I can feel scared and hopeful at the same time. I can hold both of those things knowing that um, things are going to come down the pike. My history tells me that there is more on the way. And I can be in a little bit of fear about that for a moment. I don't want to stay in that, but I can allow myself to feel that again, get curious about that. Where is that coming from? Where is that trauma response? What is that, right? And then I can be hopeful, like very quickly. And the more you practice this, right, that shifting of those beliefs and stuff, specifically with a negative feeling, right, it happens more quickly. Both I am a good sister and I couldn't save my brother are true. Something like that. Okay, moving on. Be with it, not in it. And it's anonymous because I don't know. I didn't make it up. I heard it. I don't know where it came from. I've Googled it. There is no person that I can find attached to this phrase, but I love it. And what this means is I can see my grief. I can spend time with my grief. I can pull out the ornaments for the Christmas tree, or I can bake the apple pie that my brother loved, or, I can be feeling that grief and that sadness, but not completely immersed and enmeshed with it. I can be like aware of it. I can greet it. I can welcome it like a friend and say, okay, you're here now. You're here. That's okay. But I don't have to give my whole self to you. I can still be a little bit separate from it. So it's sort of just viewing it, seeing it, acknowledging it, feeling it, but not being engulfed by it. This is just a sharing prompt. You can write on it if you want, but I just thought that might be a fun one to share on. Describe a moment when you noticed a shift from being consumed by your pain to gently acknowledging it. What changed in you during that moment? So if anybody has had an experience where they were aware that they weren't quite consumed in the same way, if you'd like to share that, that would be helpful, I think, for the group.
Jessica's raised her hand.
Oh, hi, Jessica. Sorry.
Hi, no worries. Yeah, so there was a point, like my mom passed away over 20 years ago now, and for so long, like I was consumed by it and couldn't remember anything happy, or any of the memories didn't feel happy. And I actually went to a grief camp last year, and we did some artwork, like not similar to what we did at the earlier session today, but um, sort of like trying to, compile things and bring things together in a way to like bring out memories. And I noticed in those moments that like I actually was remembering things and felt like happy about it, and like had a smile on my face, and like remembered like the good things, and like felt like a lot of gratitude for that. So that was it was so nice to like be able to remember it without the pain.
Thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that.
thanks.
It's beautiful. It's such a freeing experience and liberating experience when that happens. I remember my brother loved the Chipmunks Christmas album. And he loved Christmas. Like that was his jam. Like from like Halloween, maybe even before. I mean, now, it's like kind of normal to start thinking about Christmas at Halloween, but back when in 1985, maybe it wasn't as much, but he started playing it really early. Every morning we'd get ready for school and you'd hear the chipmunk singing coming out of his room, and I would hear that the first few years and I would just cry. Like as soon as it would come on the radio or whatever, I would cry. And now exactly same thing, Jessica. It brings a smile to my face because I remember the good, and there was a lot of bad. If anybody has experience with somebody dying from addiction, there's a whole lot of trauma and trouble and sadness and just it's bad. And so now when I can remember him with that smile, I love that. Thanks for sharing that, Jessica. That just reminded me. Anybody else want to share? Marcia? Oh, you're muted. Hold on, I got it.
So when my husband and was dying, and it was the pandemic, and my 97, 98-year-old mother was living with me, we started going to a workshop called Poetry as Medicine. And that has helped me again and again express grief and find beauty and joy in memories. And it generates memories, and it allows me to also speak about grief at the same time.
Beautiful. Love that. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Yes. Poetry, our own writing, reading other people's writing, it's gets to feeling sometimes that we can't just conjure up on our own, right? Even music, lyrics to music evoke some kind of feeling and then allow us to have those memories or just experience it in a different way, really.
And I just sent a poem that I'm writing and rewriting that I'm calling The Joy of Cooking. And I sent it to my brother and 2 cousins, and it's awakening memories in them that they had forgotten. And we're having a wonderful on and on and on conversation about snippets that are coming back for everybody.
I love that. I'm so glad that you're initiating that. That's so special. That's really amazing. And what a gift. What a gift for your family. Because very often this grief, I think it was talked about a little bit earlier, how it can, damage relationships and create problems. They say weddings and funerals bring up a lot of emotion. So the fact that you're bridging and you're and you're connecting you with your siblings in this beautiful way of these memories, that's really special. Thank you for sharing. There is a popular book called It's Okay to Not Be Okay, or It's Okay Not to Be Okay. And that is true. 100% true. We don't have to be okay, whatever okay actually means, right? It's gonna be different for each of us. And when you're not okay, allow yourself to not be okay. And it's okay to be okay. When you're not okay, be not okay. And when you're okay, you're allowed to be okay. We don't have to. So I'm Italian, and we have something in our culture called the black drape. And the black drape is when somebody dies, the women don the black drape, the black clothing, and they wear it forever. And that's their identity. That's who they become. Doesn't have to be like that if you choose for it not to be. If you don't want to live in that heaviness, you don't have to. So I am a big proponent of it's okay to be okay when you want to be. So listening, right? Getting, where am I? Where am I today? And honoring that, not forcing anything different, but just showing up wherever you are. Another sharing prompt. Describe a scene where you allow yourself the grace to be okay. I'm going to take a minute to think about this, okay? I'm going to give you a little bit of time. I'm going to jot some things down before we share. What does it look, feel, smell, or taste like? What is the temperature of the air? What are you wearing? What are you feeling? Who is there? And you can feel free to add anything else descriptive about this scene where you actually are okay. Are there butterflies? Are there rainbows? Is it raining? Is it whatever? Give you a few minutes. Well, not minutes, maybe a minute. Okay, does anybody want to share what their scene looks like, feels like, smells like? Okay, if anybody wants to put that in the chat, if they feel more comfortable doing that, please feel free. So the next section are these somatic grounding practices. Now, a mindset is great, okay, when we want to try and shift a thought or we want to try and welcome all of these emotions to exist together. But we can't force it. We can't force ourselves to feel a certain way. We can create a mindset. We might believe it, we might not. And the thing that's getting in the way of really embodying it and making it real and true for you is your body. It's what's going on inside of you. These traumas exist on a cellular level. They are deep rooted, some in our DNA passed on through the centuries, some created from this existence. So in addition to mindset, which we're probably all pretty familiar with because we've been talking about that for a couple of decades now, this new concept, it's not new, somatic is not new, but it's becoming more widely, mainstream and accepted as not, woo-woo, which we need to change that term to mean something more positive. But it's becoming real and true because people are doing it and they're getting results. And it's scientifically proven that when we do these practices, such as grounding, such as visualization, such as breathing, such as meditating, such as movement, these things that get in, they change us on a cellular level. They do things for, it does things for us chemically and just bodily that allows the space for us to, that's what creates that capacity. That's what creates that space, is getting rid of, letting go, releasing all that stuff that is not serving us. It happens in our brains, it happens in our hearts, in our gut, right? Have you guys heard of the gut brain, right? We have 3 brains: gut, heart, head. So these practices change us on a physical level to the point where we can then receive the downloads, the information, whatever we're getting from our higher selves or from whatever, in order to then take the steps to allow all of these emotions to commingle, and then direction for how to live in them. That's sort of what meditation does for me. It gives me kind of like a direction, like go to this place, call this person, read this book. Like I leave it open to be guided. And that's what a lot of these somatic practices do. Well, we have one share in here in the chat here. Tay, it feels like I am leaving a dark frozen forest and entering a field of flowers. It is sunny, warm, smells like spring. I am wearing shorts and a t-shirt and feel like I can breathe. Take deep and calming breaths of now. Love that. That's absolutely amazing. Very cool. So the first practice we're going to do is called grounding. It's a therapeutic practice connecting you to Mother Earth's energy to calm. Whoa, there we go. Now it's doing it. To calm the nervous system, reclaim connection to your inner wisdom, wholeness, and truth. Okay. So the earth energy is super high vibrational. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to extend tree roots. I'm going to explain what we're going to do and then we're going to do it. When we breathe in, okay, we're going to breathe in, and on our exhale, we're going to envision tree roots coming down the bottom of our feet, connecting into Mother Earth's beautiful, fiery, bold, bright core, her energy. We're going to wrap those roots around and we're going to bring it up into ourselves. And we're going to feel that power. That is us. We are the earth. There is no separation. We are just grounding into it to feel safe and secure and solid. Okay, grounding also happens from, if anybody's familiar with chakras, root chakra, right? So you could also picture if you're sitting cross-legged or you're laying down or whatever, and your feet are not on the floor. I suggest your feet be flat on the floor for this. But if they're not, you can picture also a branch coming down from your root, from the bottom of your spine, basically like your tailbone-ish, right in that area, just connecting you deeply to the earth, feeling protected and safe and supported. Mother Earth just wants to love you and support you. So we're going to ground into that. And we're going to do, the breathing we're going to do is basically engaging it's going to engage the vagus nerve. We're going to extend, there's a couple of ways to do that, but we're going to extend our bellies on that inhale. So when you inhale, it might feel counterintuitive. When you inhale, stick your belly out as far as you can. And it engages that vagus nerve that runs from your gut to your back of your head, the brain stem, your atlas, your axis. And that's going to then activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the calm, the balanced, the easy, where you can take those calming, easy breaths of now. It turns that on, right? The opposite is the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight, which is that trauma response, which is that I got to get out of here, or I got to do something, or the anxiety, right? The parasympathetic nervous system is that beautiful, calm, serene, tranquil place where you can then feel safe enough to embrace all of these emotions, right? This is what it all comes down to. It all comes down to feeling safe enough. The next one is heart activation breathing. Okay, so after the grounding, we're going to go right in. I'm going to put music on, and we're going to go right into heart activation breathing, which is syncing the left brain. Let me just do this over here. Syncing the left brain, which is your intellect and thoughts, and the right brain, which is your emotions, with your heart. Okay, so our intellect, our emotions, and our heart feeling is a powerful tool for seeing things honestly and with clarity, restoring the natural rhythm of the body. Breathing slowly while activating heart energy allows you to know the truth about, oh, I guess I didn't finish that, about anything. Okay, the truth about what you're holding back from, what you're resisting. It allows for that curiosity, right? It's just this clear sense when everything is aligned. You're aligning, right? You can't have a wish to change or to do something or to feel joy and happiness if your mindset is not on the same track, if you're not aligned. It's not just about thinking, it's about the feeling. You have to feel it so deeply. You cannot fool your spirit. You cannot fool the universe. It knows. It knows. So this heart activation breathing, and we can put one hand here and one hand down on our bellies below here. When we get there, one here, right on our abdomen, like an inch below your belly button, and one here. It helps you to feel safe and supported, that you are supporting yourself. Something greater than you, perhaps, if you believe in that, is supporting you as well. And everything comes into cohesion. And then that's when you can embrace all of these emotions. So, okay. Okay, so we're gonna go back to, we're just gonna put this one on, and I'm going to start some music. So get yourself comfortable. If you happen to have lavender by any chance, I absolutely love lavender. My daughter has anxiety, and at night we do something called 4-7-8 breathing, which is inhaling for 4, holding for 7, and breathing out for 8. And I'm not so sure that the actual seconds or the count matter. It's just a matter of having an elongated exhalation. But what we do is we breathe in the lavender for 4. So we're not going to do 4, 7, 8 here. We're just going to breathe in, engage the vagus nerve, breathe out, ground those tree roots into the earth. And if you have some lavender, grab it. I highly recommend it. Okay. All right, let me get the music on. Let's see if I can do that. Where are you? Spotify. Let me see if you could, oh, that's not what I want. Let me see if you can hear that. Hold on. Okay. You guys hear that? I assume yes. Okay, thanks, Susie. Okay. Get comfortable. As comfortable as you can possibly get. Planting your feet on the floor or connecting with your root chakra. We're going to just do a quick relaxation, starting at the very, very top of your head, envisioning a warm light coming down as a column, beautiful and strong, moving through the top of your head, your face, softening and loosening up every part of you as the light travels down. Maybe loosen up your jaw a little bit and then kind of let it go slack. Pull back your shoulders, back and down. Watch this light travel down your shoulders, down your arms, to your fingertips. Allowing yourself complete relaxation. Watching this light travel down your chest, your torso, your hips, softening, allowing all parts of you, all parts inside, organs, everything, large muscles, everything to just relax, be heavy on whatever is supporting you. Whether you're sitting on a chair or laying down, allow yourself to melt. Watching the light now travel further down your legs, past your knees, lower legs, your feet. I'm going to take 3 nice long breaths, engaging that vagus nerve, sticking out your belly, extending your belly as far as you can. On the inhales, inhale. And exhale, watching, envisioning those tree roots extending from the bottom of your feet, going deep, deep down into the earth. Inhale. Exhale. They're traveling deeper through all the layers of the earth, reaching the core. Inhale. Exhale, watching those roots wrapping around beautiful Mother Earth's energy, full of light and love and beauty and peace and calm. Roundedness, feeling safe and secure in her love, bringing that up through those tree roots, settling, allowing it to settle right in the core of your being, in your solar plexus, one of your chakra energy centers. Visioning this beautiful light spreading out to all parts of you, becoming one with this high frequency energy that is your birthright, that is you, that is not outside of you, that is part of you, that is you. You are fully connected to this light, feeling levity, feeling okay. Feeling all of it. Allowing space for your pain and your grief to exist among the joy and the happiness and the love that you've shared with your loved one. I invite you to stay in this energy for a couple of moments, and then we'll begin our heart activation breathing. You to place one hand, your right hand, over your heart space, just left of center. Your left hand on your lower abdomen. Feeling safe and supported by Mother Earth, by your own spirit. Feeling stable, feeling a sense of belonging right here, right now. All of your emotion and everything that you're feeling in all parts of you. All parts are welcome. All emotions are welcome. Honoring, embracing, nurturing this beautiful light that you are. Begin just breathing very naturally, easily. I invite you to deepen your breath just a bit. Deepen your breath even more. On this next inhale, we're going to envision our breath moving physically through our heart space. Picture that inhale through your heart, exhaling through your heart. Inhale, exhale. Keep breathing in and out deeply through your heart. Really feeling that connection to yourself, to your essence, to all that you are and all that is. Grounded in this moment, grounded in your physical space, grounded in your body. On this next breath, I invite you to finish this sentence. What I need to know about what I need to give myself permission to feel it all is. What I need to know to give myself permission to feel it all is. judgment, no shame, no guilt. Just being present with your truth. Knowing that it's okay. Next, I welcome you to explore one thing you're grateful for. Just one. It could be as simple as sun shining, bird chirping, food in your fridge. And just sit in this for another 30 seconds or so until I call you back. Begin to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Going to shut the music off. Whenever you're ready, you can flutter your eyes open, begin to ground back, perhaps find something in your physical space that maybe you haven't noticed in a while to just kind of be here now. Right here, right now, you are safe. All of you is welcome, and all of you is good. You are enough. And you get to decide how you want to feel this holiday season. And you are allowed to feel it all. When the tears come, let them flow. When the smile comes, let it grace your face. Bask in the beautiful memories and love that you shared. That concludes our workshop. Thank you so much for attending. I hope you leave feeling calm, whole, and peaceful, and that perhaps your heart space has broadened a little bit and you found space to embrace all of it. This is my information. I would love to stay connected with you. My email address is Amanda@McKoy Flanagan. It's just my name. You can sign up on my website here. Whoop, didn't mean to do that. On my website, to receive information about upcoming events and retreats. I do a number of in-person retreats here in Colorado. I do some virtual and Zoom events as well. Learn about my offerings. If you are interested in working with me, I also do a free discovery call, 30 minutes, where we talk about if coaching is the right avenue for you to go down. You can follow me everywhere. Well, just Facebook and Instagram, but at the same Amanda McKoy Flanagan. It's my name everywhere. If you want to find me, it's just my name anywhere. And I have a podcast called Soul Rising, All in on Love, Loss, and Connection. You can listen to that on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. And I have great guests on, and we explore all things about how human emotion serves to connect us or disconnect us from ourselves, each other, and the universe. So I hope you join me somewhere in the future. And I thank you very much. And I applaud all of you for being here today. It's not easy to show up to these things and to feel the things that we feel. So I admire each and every one of you for being here.